to Jake Jackets. Gear up to fire the cannon and hit the ice with your host, Jay Ashdown and Jake Gehringer.
Okay. We're here. Sorry we took a week off. We have a lot of shit in personal lives going on.
Indeed we did.
But we are here, and there's a lot of stuff we missed. Well, we didn't miss it.
No, we were aware. We just we couldn't report on it.
Let's explain this here. Okay, so Tuesday, I was originally scheduled to have orientation for my second job.
Yes.
But then, excuse me, something came up with that. We had to reschedule that for the end of this week because I had a vacation over this weekend. You had a vacation over this weekend. Well, vacation.
Kinda. I relaxed.
Sure. As you can see, I've got some swag going on. These are great. I love these.
Oh, you put those on over your glasses?
Yeah, they fit right over them. They're great. And then a little Kraken merch.
What's cracking, baby?
Well, that's cracking. I went to Gatlinburg and Pigeon Forge over the weekend with my family, and it was beautiful.
Gatlinburg's all right. I love Pigeon Forge. Pigeon Forge is freaking awesome, man. There's so much to do there. Did you ride any of the mountain coasters?
I'm not a big roller coaster guy anymore.
Oh, really?
That's one thing. Like so we went on the ski lift and the glass bridge in Gatlinburg, right?
Yes. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And my youngest brother, who's 11, kept talking about his fear of heights and how he was not like willing to do this. It ended up being one of his favorite parts of the trip. And I kept having to tell him and explaining to him how subjective a fear of heights is, because I have it too. And that's where my fear of roller coasters comes from. I rode Diamondback twice back in high school. And then I was like, okay, no more roller coasters.
I love Diamondback.
Diamondback.
I'm a big roller coaster guy. I'm a huge roller coaster guy, so.
Yeah. Well, yeah, like I said, we missed an entire week of stuff. There was the schedule release. There's free agent frenzy. There's a bunch of other signings going on.
Draft. We list the literal draft.
We did, and there are things that we're going to talk about that you've probably already listened to on other podcasts, but we just want to give, our thoughts on it.
Yeah, I want to pay some attention to it,
And then there's also some new stuff that came out today that we connect with.
Right.
As Blue Jackets fans. And as Blue Jackets fans, let's start there. We're going into another rebuild, aren't we? We
are. I'm not too pressed about it, though, to be honest with you. I mean, we kind of went through we talk about it as the 4 greatest years in franchise history, but our franchise history isn't exactly great.
It's not fraught with much. I mean, we could be like Vancouver and Buffalo with being 50 years without a cup, but at least they've made the finals. They have stuff that they can hold on to. They've got President's trophies they've won. For us, we've got Dominic Hasek.
We have that one series win over Tampa, which was fun, but we were,
and it was beautiful. It was amazing.
But we were in a constant state of pretty good. We're going to win a cup. Like our best shot was 2019.
Yeah,
if they beat the Bruins, they probably beat the Hurricanes, and if they have a shot against the Blues, I guess. But that's it.
Consistent middle of the pack to lower 5th.
Yeah, and I think a rebuild's probably the best route to go, especially, God, man, the first round of the draft for us was beautiful.
And we may actually hit on all 3 of those first rounders at this point.
Yeah, I got to tell you, of the 3 first round picks, the pick I liked the least was probably Kent Johnson. And it's not that I don't like the pick. The Cole Sillinger pick is a slam dunk. The Corson Coleman's pick is a slam dunk.
Corson is gonna. I didn't follow much of the scouting.
Yeah,
from this past draft.
I like him a lot.
He looks fine. Having, the cylinder nepotism's a little fun, and I don't know if is nepotism too negative a word.
It probably is. It's nice to have a guy who
connects
to the city,
and we'll get to that.
The organization has struggled with, but they have Roslovic now. Obviously, there's a free agent we can talk about in a little bit, but
yeah,
getting guys who want to play here is big, and I feel like this offseason so far for the Blue Jackets has been very enjoyable.
And it helps to have guys that grew up here and went through the process of learning the game here too.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Sorry if you're hearing a buzz. That's a text from my mom. But yeah, I think that's really important for an organization like this. That's not really known for hockey yet. Right?
Yeah. I think that's fair. Yeah.
Like it's definitely growing as the fan base, hardens into this team and into this organization. But Columbus is still very much Ohio State's city.
It's and the thing is it's always going to be Ohio State's city.
Well, of course. There's
nothing you can do about that, but the fact of the matter is it's still growing as a hockey city, which is what you want. You're never going to be bigger than Ohio State football.
No.
You're probably never going to be bigger than Ohio State basketball. But
hey, actually, I have a fun little anecdote about Ohio State basketball. Have you ever heard of Gary Bratz?
Huh?
Gary Bratz.
No.
His number is retired in Value City Arena.
Okay.
He went to his whole family has basically an athletic history in my high school.
Okay.
Our gymnasium in the high school is the Gary Bratz Memorial Gymnasium. I went to school with both of his grandsons, who Evan turned into a coach for a while. He tried out for the Pacers, and then some injury prevented him from playing. Like I said, he coached for a while. I think he's doing journalism now. And Ethan, the younger of the two, year younger than me, went on to do both basketball and football, and eventually signed on to Western Kentucky to play tight end there. So some fun college stuff there with the Brad's family, and it's really like they're all such a nice family, which is good too. Anyway, off of that tangent, the rebuild. It's nice to have both Yarmo and JD at the helm with this.
Yeah, no, I
because they've always worked better
as a duo.
Yeah.
And it's not that I don't trust Yarmo. I just like him a hell of a lot better when JD's around.
Right. I think JD is a nice voice of reason. And it's not like Yarmo isn't his own voice of reason.
No, I think
he's a very wise.
Together,
I think he's a very wise man. Right.
I think most fans understand in the National Hockey League understand we have had a problem with player retention. And even then, Yarmo is still, I think, a consensus top 10 general manager in the league.
I would say yes, because again, like you said, we have trouble with keeping guys here, except for one, which we could talk about here in a sec.
I'm super excited about.
But yeah, the rebuild is on, and I don't really know how to feel about it yet, except, I guess we'll see what this season brings. But
you never know, because the 2016-17 season, remember, we made the playoffs in 2013-14. The next year we expected to make the playoffs. We had a whole bunch of injuries. Yeah. Then the next year we add Brandon Saad, and we were excited.
Fun.
Yeah.
I loved him. When he went to the All-Star game in Nashville, I was blown away.
I like the addition, and then we started off 0-7. And then we
Right.
fired Todd Richards. We bring in Torts. We had no clue what to expect. We thought it was maybe going to be another rebuild.
Right.
And then that was the start of
The best
us
stretch.
consistently
Yeah.
the best stretch in franchise history. So you never know. I know Brad Larsen's not John Tortorella. I'm still going to give him that chance. We've
But
talked
like we
about this
talked
before.
about, yeah, like we talked about in episode 2, which again, we took a whole week off. We needed some time, and now we're back, and we'll be doing, yeah.
I think this rebuild's going to be a little quicker than people think.
I hope it's definitely like we heard Yarmo and JD. Like JD is all about brick by brick, right? That's his philosophy.
That's been his thing for quite some time.
Yeah, and Yarmo tossed around the phrase reload a few times.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's not a retool, it's not a rebuild, it's somewhere in the middle.
Yeah. It's hard to put like a word on it, but you have 3 first-round picks. I liked all the picks.
Yeah.
You traded away Seth, but you get another really, really good young player in Adam Boqvist.
I was just testing lighting.
Yeah. There's a lot to be excited about with this.
Yeah.
I feel good about it.
Oh, yeah.
And you go into the expansion draft, you don't give up anything.
Again, we talked about the expansion draft and having them take Bayreuther,
only for him to come back.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious. Like you lost nothing. And now
there were
now
a few of those players that there were a few of those players that happened with, like Vanacek went back to Washington,
but they got a second round pick out of that, so that was smart managing on their part. But Bayreuther, they got nothing, which was interesting because
these guys are going to be really fun.
They have 2 options with Domi. You can keep him and try and see how it works this season, or you can retain half his salary and make a move with him.
Oh yeah. So there's definitely options there. I gotta look at my notes. I have so many, like literally I showed you before we decided on not doing shows last week. I was at 13. I think I'm somewhere in the 20s on just little bullet points.
Pages?
No, on just little bullet point things.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, holy smokes.
Okay, so what do you want to do now? Do you want to get into some heavier stuff and then we can go back into like bits and pieces on the rebuild, or how do you want to do this?
I do want to get into some of the trades. There's some interesting ones I'd kind of like to talk about.
The Columbus trades?
We can do those first, yeah. But I think there's other
just
NHL
all the
trades.
General trades. Yeah,
there's a lot that are incredibly interesting.
Yeah, we can save like Chicago and Montreal for deeper
later.
Anyway, yeah. Okay, so let's see. Let's start off with the big Columbus one, which was, we knew Seth was gonna go. He wanted out. Speaking of guys that don't want to be here.
Yeah. I don't know. I got the feeling that again, the problem with this like whole player retention thing is it often seems like these guys not necessarily don't want to be here, but they want to be elsewhere. It's not that Panarin didn't like being in Columbus, or Seth didn't like being in Columbus, or Sergei didn't like being in Columbus. I mean, Sergei signed 2 extensions while he was here.
Right.
They had opportunities to make a ton of money in places that were better for them. Panarin always dreamed of being a Ranger. Seth gets to go to an original 6 franchise that's, in some hot water right now, but he gets to play with his brother and he's playing in Chicago.
Yeah, that too. Like,
and Sergei
gets
like a boatload of money to play in South Florida.
Right. Imagine like how Chicago's deep pairings are going to look with like Seth right up here and Caleb right down here.
Yeah, like
that's
I think
fun.
They probably imagine those 2 guys playing together.
Well, the same thing could be said with like, I don't know, Jack and Luke Hughes or whoever else that, we thought Nick Foligno was going to go to Minnesota to play with Marcus. He ended up going to Boston, but
because they threw like a bunch of money at him that he probably isn't worth at this point in his career.
And then Patrice Bergeron whispered sweet little nothings in his ear.
I mean, I thought for sure, I thought it was a lock that he was going to Minnesota, but then Boston was like, "Here, we'll give you almost $4 million."
We'll give you the yeah.
Yeah, it's a
I
little
mean,
strange. I don't know if I would have given him that money at this point in his career, but whatever. Yeah,
former captain.
yeah, but the Bruins don't really struggle for leadership.
No, but at the same time, like you can never have too many. Is that fair?
I think sometimes you can. I think sometimes you can, to be honest.
I think, yeah, maybe. I think that depends.
No, I don't think Nick is the kind of guy that's going to go there and cause a ruckus or anything like that.
No, but
I don't know. At this point, if you're the Bruins and you're trying to compete for a cup, I don't know if throwing over $3.5 million at Nick Foligno is going to get you the job done. Like he's solid in the bottom six, but damn, like
at this point, yeah,
a lot of money, man. I mean, I felt that they could have probably spent that money elsewhere. I mean, Nick Ritchie signed for less. They had him. Yeah. He signed for less in Toronto. Like I understand letting Kasha leave, but
right.
I mean, you get the same kind of impact out of Nick Ritchie, don't you?
Mm-hmm. They have slightly different playing styles, but that's beside the point. Yeah. So again, we were deep diving into the Jones trade. So
there's so many moving parts to it. Yeah.
It's like we just kind of gave up Seth and a couple of picks. I don't have the trade tracker up.
Yeah. So I'll say it this way. It's Seth, and you're essentially doing a pick swap. You traded the 32nd overall pick for the 11th.
Right.
A significant upgrade.
Yeah. Well,
so
whatever the actual selection was, because forfeited pick from Arizona and whatever.
Yeah, forfeited pick. So it was the 12th overall pick, but essentially the 11th selection.
Yeah.
So you make that trade, like
Seth, and then we also get Adam. Swap. We also get Adam Boqvist from that as a replacement, essentially.
Yeah, and then you get a second round pick that you flip to Carolina for Jake Bean,
which is another add-on to that depth chart, which is awesome.
Yeah, I like it a lot. I mean, God, you're looking down your left-hand side. I mean, you got Werenski, Gavrikov, and Bean. I mean, that's a solid left-hand side.
That's fun. We were talking about that last episode, how fun like the left side is going to be. If they just,
I like how it's constructed, because Werenski's very solid, both eye test, analytically,
right,
stats, like he checks all the boxes.
He led all defensemen in goals. What was it? 2? Was that 2 years ago now?
But yeah, they didn't even play a full season because that's when the pandemic happened, and he was already at 20 goals.
Yeah.
So I mean, the guy is very good.
And this is his chance.
Gavrikov is more of a defensive guy,
right?
And God, analytics. I mean, he checks all those boxes. I mean, he's outstanding.
Gavrikov is your Jake Muzzin.
Yeah, he is. I think that's perfectly fair, and I don't think it's an exaggeration either. And Jake Bean, I think, has got a lot of potential too. I mean, he's going to be playing on your third pair.
And they signed him for what, 3 years?
A 3-year extension, yeah.
3-year extension. I loved it. It was great.
Yeah.
And it gives him room to grow. It gives him room to show what he can do.
Yeah, and I believe
he'll still be an RFA afterwards.
Yeah,
I think.
yeah, exactly. So that's
now
smart move by Yarmo.
Now this is Z's decor.
It is. I mean, I'll tell you right now. We can get into the extension if you'd like.
Let's go. Yeah, let's just, as we're talking individual players with this.
6 years, 9.583. So you get $83,000 more than South, which is kind of hilarious. I really like it. I mean, God, is he worth 9.5 at this point? I don't know, but I mean, it's not like it's a bad contract. I mean, he's definitely worth more than 8.
I mean, again,
it's not a stretch.
Another kid who's our age, right?
Yeah.
So it's like he's still young enough to grow somewhat, but this is where he needs to show that, like, this payday is what he needs to now prove himself with.
100%. Here's the thing that's interesting about this kid is, like I was saying earlier, you look at the analytics on this guy. It's very good.
Something's buzzing.
you look at the defensive partner he had, Seth Jones.
Yeah.
The analytics were quite bad.
And I mean, like,
and they were paired the whole time.
Most of our listeners, at least starting out, probably aren't going to give less than a shit about the numbers,
I think,
but
yeah, I think it's significant though, because it's just like, okay, so something wasn't there with Seth, but even playing with that guy, look at what he did.
right.
And I think for
look
the
at
Blue
how
Jackets,
they both did, as a unit, to not only do somewhat, because they're both offensively minded guys. They still did pretty well in their own end, but they put up a ton of points for you.
Yeah, I think, well, yeah, Seth can put up a ton of points. Z puts up
Goals.
a ton of points. He puts up goals, and he's reliable defensively, more reliable than Seth has ever been.
Sure.
So my thing is like, this guy can play. This guy is worth at least $8 million. I don't know if he's worth 9.5. This is where he can show that he's worth 9.5. Pair him with Boakfist and see how he does.
Yes, please.
Because if Boakfist's analytics were pretty okay, they were what you would expect from a young kid
and a middle of the
offensive minded on a middle of the pack Chicago team that's definitely not a defensive minded team. You put him with Zach Werenski on the first pair. This guy was the 8th overall pick a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
There's a lot of talent with this kid.
Oh yeah.
If this gels and this is your number one defensive pairing, it's a slam dunk.
It's a huge.
And the fact that you have an elite defenseman like Zach Werenski who says, I want to be here.
And he gets overlooked.
That's the real win.
Well, that's the thing too. Yeah. The fact that he wants to be here, he wants to stay. And we can talk about another guy who probably wanted to stay in a sec.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But he loves it here. He's actually committing to being here for the long haul.
Yeah.
We needed a player like this.
We've needed this for... God, we needed this like a fat kid needs cake. I mean... Like, because you look at the history, man, like the most frustrating moment in franchise history for me was a moment that was nobody's fault.
Mm-hmm.
It was the Nathan Horton contract. Because it's not a bad contract. You signed him to a reasonable deal. You can't foresee that this dude's back is going to give out on him. And he's not going to be able to play.
I thought the same way, because him and David Clarkson ended up the exact same way.
And like, it was frustrating because like this guy was a good player.
Yes,
this guy could put up 30 goals for you, probably 60 points every year. Be solid on your first line. He was responsible defensively. This dude,
his 2011
wanted
was
to
amazing.
be here. Yes, he was amazing. And this dude wanted to be here. He signed. He was a family guy, wanted to be in Columbus, loved this city, and it didn't work out. It was so sad because it was the first time we saw a free agent say, I want to be in Columbus.
Right.
And it was just like, it's not Yarmo's fault. It's not Nathan Horton's fault. It's just incredibly sucky scenario.
It's just a very, like, nobody can foresee like a career-ending injury like that.
No, not at all. So the fact that you have a guy that you drafted and you grew this guy, he went back to Michigan. He went to the Monsters, won Calder Cup there.
He was on that team. I forgot.
Yeah. And then,
it was him and Oliver together, right? It was like a lot of
Oliver was big on that. Josh Anderson was on that team. That was,
oh my God,
that team was so good. That was such a good team. Yeah, and like, God, it was so much fun to watch him. And it's like you saw the potential with Z, and then he goes up to the Blue Jackets, and he looks good with Seth Jones for a long time, and then he signs a 2-year bridge deal, and there's questions. Seth is about to leave. Panarin already left. Bobrovsky already left. Duchesne left, but we didn't even offer him a contract.
Duchesne was a rental.
Yeah, he was a rental, but people like to bring that up for some reason. All this player retention issues that everybody brings up, and this dude looked this entire city of Columbus in the eyes and said, "I want to be here." I want to be here.
Thank you, Zach. And it's weird coming from a Michigan Wolverine in Buckeye territory.
I don't care.
But I mean, the whole college thing aside,
I hope Kent Johnson's the same way.
Yeah, because that was a gigantic draft for Michigan.
God, it was ridiculous.
It was wild.
If they don't win the national championship this upcoming year, that's ridiculous. That team is freaking loaded.
Well, the Ohio State team too is also really, really good. Like they're not on that.
God, they'll get smoked by Michigan whenever they play them.
But again,
sorry to any Buckeyes fans out there. I'm sorry. Michigan should win it all next year. If they got to see, travesty.
I went to a game in 2018. They were playing Mercyhurst, and Carson was still on the team, and I think Jobst was too, and they were flying.
Yeah,
I really want to see, because Carson Meyer has, he signed the deal with Columbus, not strictly Cleveland. So if they want to bring him up, they could bring him up.
God, he's one of the most interesting stories of college hockey the last couple of years.
And he's another local kid.
Local kid, was with Miami of Ohio, and dude was struggling, had a tapeworm that he didn't even know about, was sick as hell. It's why he had such a bad season. Oh God, it was so long, dude. That was just gross. And then he transfers to Ohio State, and his career starts picking back up. And then he was really solid with the Monsters last year. I'm interested in Carson Meyer.
I'm very excited.
A bottom 6 guy.
I'm very excited for Carson, and I really hope he does get a shot up here.
Yeah, but another. If we want to go into like another trade that happened. Now, this is a sad one.
This one, like, we were both legitimately like texting each other in tears.
Yeah. It's just the meaning of the player to the city.
Exactly.
Because outside of Z, who just said, I want to be here, right. He's a Blue Jacket through and through.
Cam was Columbus at that point. Like,
yeah, like, I mean, God, I mean, the Blue Jackets were terrible in the 2011-12 season, but, they bring this kid up for a few games, and, the next year, lockout season.
There's a ringing.
Looks pretty solid.
There's like a ringing you got going on. I don't know there's like feedback. Me? Yeah, I think it's on your end.
Oh.
I
don't hear anything.
I'm hearing feedback, and I don't know what's going on, but anyway, yeah, but honestly, like, we were heartbroken because Cam gave everything to the city.
Yeah,
he partnered with Matt and everything. Like, he partnered with fans for branding purposes. The ringing's gone. Thank God. The feedback's out.
I had to put myself on mute, but I'll do that when I'm not talking.
That's probably what it is. It's like mic feedback.
Okay, I got it.
That's probably what it is. We can fix that for the next show. But yeah, so the trade was 1-for-1. It was Cam Atkinson going to Philadelphia for Jacob Voracek. And I mean, hey, for a guy like me who never did get to see Jake in Columbus, it'll be interesting to see what he looks like now.
Yeah, Jake Voracek's still a pretty good player, and he's definitely the playmaker that this team needs for Patrick Laine, I think.
Yes. Oh,
which is going to be exciting. It's just like, if you look at it, like, this is how I look at it. Philadelphia, the relationship with Voracek has been kind of strained, and his role with the team is diminished.
Right.
It's been rough. They are acquiring a guy who will, they're saving money.
Right.
B,
I guess
they're going to get
that great.
There's a gap. Yeah. So they're saving money. They're getting a solid right winger, who could play on their second line behind Konechny,
and still pot you 20 if he wanted to.
He can buy you. You're guaranteed to get 20 goals from this guy.
Oh yeah.
If he's really hot throughout the year, he'll give you 30. He's a good player.
Smallish.
He's streaky,
like
but he's good.
He's a very Martin St. Louis type of guy in terms of his size and the speed at which he plays, and still how tenacious he even is. Because
he's not as good as Marty St. Louis was in his prime, but this is still an effective player who, even though he's streaky as hell, I mean, God, when this guy's hot, like he's unstoppable. Now you'd like for him to be a little bit more consistent, but frankly, you kind of take him for what he is. He's still going to be a very good player for the Flyers. The Blue Jackets are getting the better player out of this, but they're taking on more cap, which doesn't matter for them because they have so much room. That's why this is such an even trade, because Philadelphia's clearing out some cap space and they're getting rid of a disgruntled player. Jake is coming back to Columbus, a city that he liked. I mean, he didn't ask for a trade. They traded him along with the 7th pick, which became Sean Couturier for Jeff Carter. We don't need to talk about that trade.
Yeah, let's not.
Anyway, they're bringing this guy back. They're getting the setup guy for Laine. There's a lot to be happy about with this, outside of the sadness of losing a guy like Cam, who's a great person.
Embraced the city with
embraced the city. Yeah, that's the sad part. But at the end of the day, it's still a trade that I think should be good.
2 more tiny things I want to bring up with this trade. One thing that I didn't realize until I read Allison Lucan's tweet about this. Everybody was freaking out about the age difference. It's 2 months. Like this is such an even veteran swap.
It is. It's literally the situation where Philadelphia understands that they are, in terms of production, downgrading a little bit, but
not as much.
It's not significant. They're going to have more cap space, so they can do things at the deadline if they like, if they're playing well.
We have a buddy who's a Flyers fan, and I mean, I never got to see his reaction to this, but I'm sure he was excited about it.
Yeah,
I haven't seen Kevin a lot on my Twitter feed, if I'm being honest.
He DMs me a lot. He's excited because he likes Cam. And I like I said, understanding the situation between the Flyers and Voracek and the media, like this was heading to a divorce for quite some time. And I think this is the best way to go about it. Like, I think both teams benefit from this.
Right. I mean, we'll see what happens, on the ice. And then one last thing about this trade. Cam, buddy. 89. It's just me being like, an artistic guy. It looks ugly.
Yeah.
I know Matt did, a rebrand for Cam over there for Philly merch.
Right.
That looks better than how his number looks on the jersey. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm trying to think. Does somebody wear 13 on the Flyers already?
Kevin Hayes.
Kevin Hayes does? Okay, that's who I thought. So, yeah, it explains why he can't wear 13, but God.
What did Gostisbehere wear, like 53?
Yeah.
Even that would have looked better.
Yeah.
Give him a 3 somewhere on the right side, and it's going to look nicer with his name on it.
Yeah, I agree. Could have wore 83.
Could have, yeah. I think maybe. I don't know what's open on, a certain team. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I forget all the time.
So let's talk about the actual schedule real quick, because regular season schedules did come out. There are 2 specific dates that I really want to highlight, and they're both kind of early on. One is the second game of the season at home against these guys.
Yeah.
The first time ever getting to play the Seattle Kraken. You get to do it right away in front of your fans. How wild is Nationwide going to rock?
I think the fans are going to be pretty excited about it. The good thing is they don't have to worry about looking at a former Blue Jacket on the team.
That too. That's
They
very
don't have to worry about like cheering against a guy that they liked. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Anytime you get like a new team coming in, it's always exciting. Like I remember
unless you cheer for other
time...
teams and like that player is there,
Right. I remember the first time
teams.
got the chance to see Vegas in at Nationwide. It was awesome. It was a great experience.
Oh yeah.
And I even remember like 2011, 2012 season when we were terrible. It was relatively early in the season. I saw it was a pretty decent crowd. We played the Jets the first year after they moved from Atlanta. Yeah. And I remember we won and Johansson had 2 goals. The little details I remember are stupid sometimes. But yeah, I remember it was fun. Like anytime you got a new team coming, it's there's intrigue
whether
there.
That's expansion or relocation, whichever may be the case.
Exactly. But because like even relocation, I feel like most of the time usually isn't that significant. But it was the fact that the Jets had already been a team before,
right?
And coming back, that was like, oh, they're back. That's pretty.
Yeah, exactly.
It'd be like if the Nordiques came back. If the Nordiques came back, people would be interested in that.
Quebec would explode.
Yeah.
That would be completely wild. So yeah, there's that game. And then this is just for selfish reasons. They play Colorado on my birthday on November 6th. And that's a Saturday. It's like, oh, it's against Colorado, which is dynamite team.
Yeah, have fun with that one.
I really got to make sure I can get.
I mean, you're gonna
yeah.
Get to see Cale Makar, man.
Cale Makar, Nathan McKinnon, Gabe re-signed. It's like there's Rantanen, there's Kadri, there's so many amazing.
You get to see Ryan Murray if he's healthy.
Oh, that's right. He did sign there. He signed there this morning.
Yeah.
If he's healthy, that's
That's the
kicker.
That's the kicker. I mean,
who's their goalie gonna be now? Is it gonna be like Francouz Tanner?
No, they trade for Darcy Kemper.
Oh, that's right. They did get Darcy.
Yeah.
At least Darcy didn't find out on Twitter.
Yeah.
Like
Francouz is a solid backup, so I mean they're in pretty good hands either way. I felt like
good tandem there. Let's do we have any other like actual Jackets news?
They extended Eric Robinson.
They extended a lot of guys. Boone got an extension. Robbie got an extension.
I like both those deals.
Bean got the 3 years, and then Lettinen's coming back for another year.
Yeah, I'm excited about all those moves. It's gonna be interesting to see how Lettinen does. I mean, he didn't play a ton down the stretch for us, but
I would he
looked reasonable in those games. He didn't look like he was lost out there. So
I would like to see a full season with Mikko on the third pair.
Yeah, the problem though for him is if he's going to get any time, you're going to have one of Z, Vlad, or Bean out of the lineup, or he's going to be playing the right side.
Which, I mean, hey, if playing the right, again, we mentioned this a while back. I say a while back as if, we're 50 in. In our second episode, way back over a week ago, there are guys that are left-handed shots that do play very well on the right side. TJ Brody being key among them.
Yeah, Travis Dermott can do it. He's inconsistent at times, but
way,
I think he's good. And I've heard that Mikko can play the right side.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen it enough to be like, oh, he'll be good at it, but maybe that's something they give a shot.
I think I saw like if it was like him and Bogosian in the lineup at the same time, they would like flip-flop sides.
That's interesting.
But usually I think it was like they were swapping Ogo and Mikko.
Okay. That's interesting.
I mean,
and
Toronto fans,
Kooks is also a guy who
like,
can
correct
play the
me
right
all you
side.
want.
Like like with Miko
Mm-hmm.
and Kooks, like they got two left-hand shots who I think can play the
That
right side.
could do either
Yeah.
side. And again, that's third pair. It's not like you need to worry too much.
Yeah, I mean, if your biggest hole on D is on your third pair, I think you're in pretty good shape
You're
defensively.
pretty okay. Unless you're like Tampa that literally has like, the elite of the elite on your third pair.
Well, let me tell you, man, the biggest hole Tampa has is probably their third pairing on their minor league team.
Yeah. They are that deep. It's insanity.
They're unbelievable.
Okay, so we talked all rebuild, right? We've laid like the foundations of what we know we're doing so far.
Yeah.
Barring anything that Yarmo just did today. Like that we don't know about.
Right.
Which, I mean, he's quiet. He's been pretty quiet so far.
Too quiet.
Well, maybe not too quiet because we did.
No, too quiet for like the last like couple of days. Like, what's he got brewing up?
Right. Speaking of local kids, we got Sean Corrali.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, I think the majority of Jackets Twitter is a little bit more excited about that one than I am.
I mean, I think it's nice.
Yeah, like don't get me wrong, like I understand like why they did it. You're getting a guy who grew up around the area, who's Dublin, like, and
he just missed playing with Jack.
Yeah,
in the AAA system.
Yeah, he's fine.
I mean,
like he's a bottom six guy who's going to help out the penalty kill,
and we need.
He's a fine player, Yeah. But like, God, I mean,
who doesn't need good penalty killers?
But 4 years, 2.5 average annual value, man. I don't know, like
he wants to stay home. That's all I can say, but that's literally
he wants to stay home. I'm happy he's home. I'm not against the signing. I like him, but like people are freaking out, like, oh my God, this is awesome. I'm just
he's going to be the guy. Like, no, he's not.
Like he's all right. He'll play.
He's not going to be the guy that we're looking for to anchor Patty to.
Like he's your Riley Nash replacement.
Yeah, because
literally Like, and that's
Nash
fine.
Is gone. Nash is gone now.
Yeah, it's fine. That's the best way to say it. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. A lot of people are fine, but I'm not going to freak out over fine. I'll be content with fine.
Exactly. So that's everything Columbus, I think.
Yeah.
So now we'll
Can
start.
I request the next topic?
What do you want?
I want to talk about the trade I manifested.
Yes. Okay.
Can we please? How incredible was that I was just like, okay, the Coyotes, oof, this is rough. They might have to think about buying out Aldrich and Larson. Then we looked at it and we were like, they should absolutely not do that.
No, yeah,
it's a brutal contract.
And it was like, wow.
Oh my God, that was brutal looking at that thing. Holy, oh, good Lord. And then the next freaking day.
Listen, I watched that back. We lost our damn minds, and you wanted to legit cry on camera.
I did. I was almost in tears looking at that. And then good old Jim Benning to the rescue, baby.
Jimmy boy, you did it again.
Jimmy boy. Oh my God. How let me tell you, man, like I'm getting relatively familiar with Canucks Twitter.
As a guy
I gotta say,
sorry.
Go ahead.
As a guy that does cheer for Vancouver, on my like top 5 list or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
Jim, okay, but put the damn phone down.
Let me tell you, man.
You don't have to go after everybody.
Trading away. Let's think of it this way. This is one trade, but it's almost like it's 2 trades in one. Okay.
Yeah.
They traded Antoine Roussel, Jay Beagle, Louis Erickson. both 3 bad contracts. However, 3 bad contracts with only 1 year remaining. So
you
okay,
could
but you
sit
get
that out.
Yeah, you can
Like-
sit that out. But you get rid of those. Okay, that's good. Okay, you lose the 9th overall pick. Oof. But
Yeah,
you get
that's
Connor
tough.
Garland. You got Connor Garland, man. That's good. And they extended him for a reasonable contract.
It's a wave deal. Like, you know what I mean? It's like you look at, okay, they're dumping the 3 bad contracts. Okay, but you could have sat that out still.
The way I look at this
like,
trade is they traded Antoine Roussel, Jay Beagle, and Louis Erickson, along with a 2nd and a 7th, to get rid of those contracts, but take on Oliver Ekman-Larsson, and then they traded the 9th overall pick for Connor Garland.
That's a good way to break that down.
Because like, here's the okay. Let's break it down this way. Roussel, Beagle, and Erickson, those are gone. That's a good thing. Okay,
yes.
That's a good thing. 9th overall, getting rid of the 9th overall pick kind of sucks.
That's rough.
Getting rid of a 2nd and the 7th doesn't really
who went
huge, but
who went
9th.
Yeah,
Dylan Gunther.
Oh, that's right.
And I was seeing on Twitter from let me tell you, getting familiar with Canucks Twitter is just unbelievable. That is just that fan base is on crack.
Following people that the hockey guy follow, like just
oh my lord! It's just you see, there's so many people. Like half the people want Jim Benning dead. Half the people are like, "Oh, give him a chance, guys," and like they kiss the ground he walks. It's weird. It's a weird
because
fan base.
there's 3 factions to the Church of Benning.
Yes.
There's Fire Benning.
Yes.
There's Benning is God. And then there's fine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Here's the thing. Like I said, getting rid of 3 bad contracts, not a bad thing. Sure, losing the 9th overall picks. But Connor Garland's a good player.
You dumped a lot of dead cap, essentially. Well, maybe not dead cap between 2 of them, but Louis is such dead weight at this point, and it's like, what are you doing? Get rid
Here's
of that
the problem.
It's like
at least with the Oliver Ekman-Larsson contract, with Jim Benning, you can at least say he didn't sign him to it.
Right. That was, yeah. That was.
And here's the other thing: the Coyotes did retain. They did retain $1.2 million throughout the course of it.
Right.
So, like the next 6 years, they will be retaining $1.2 million off of his deal per year.
Right.
That's not nothing.
That's yeah.
Here is where the Coyotes win the trade. You got 3 guys. Your whole rebuild essentially is we're taking on bad contracts. We're going to suck. And we're going to tank. And we're going to get a hell of a lot of picks. And they did. They got the 9th overall pick. They got Dylan Gunther, who's a solid player. I saw someone on Canucks Twitter was like, what are the chances the 9th overall pick's going to be better than Connor Garland? I was like, I don't know. I mean, it's a top 10 pick. There's a good chance. I mean, Connor Garland's really good.
Top 10
but, I mean,
picks,
Dylan Gunther's going to be really good. I mean, he's either going to be Connor Garland or he might be better. He might be slightly worse, but he's going to be good.
Top 10 picks aren't nothing unless you end up with the same injury issues that a guy like Ryan Murray did.
Or if you draft a guy who's terrible at hockey like Jake Virtanen and is also a piece of shit, but we'll get to that later.
And then you end up seeing things in a different way. Like, you know, Ryan changed his game into a more defensive style game. But anyway,
right.
Can of worms.
Yes. So, okay, that's where Arizona wins this trade. Is they get rid of the Ekman-Larsson contract. They get the 9th overall pick. They get a 2nd and a 7th. Okay, that's good. All for taking on 1 year of Roussel, Beagle, and Erickson. Sure, they lose Garland, but I mean, you're rebuilding. So you're
two of those guys
you're bringing in young pieces. Yeah, 2 of those guys are bodies. Louis Erickson's not really going to play, but Beagle and Roussel are going to be playing on your 4th line. That's not a big deal to the Coyotes and what they're doing. Here is where the Canucks could potentially win this deal. Okay. Connor Garland's a good player.
He's a very good player.
They're going to put him on the 2nd line on the right-hand side behind Brock Besser. And he's going to be good.
That's an amazing 1-2 punch if you really think about it. Like think of it this way. Okay. So let's construct this top 6, right?
Miller, Pettersson, Besser.
Okay, and then Pearson,
and then Horvat. Yeah, Pearson, Horvat, Unless you want to do Hoglander on the second line.
And you can swap.
But you can swap. But
yeah.
Still. I mean, Connor Garland with Bo Horvat on your second line. That's a good.
Oh, that's juicy.
That's nice. That's good to have.
That's
here
fun.
Here is what's got to happen with Oliver Ekman-Larsson.
And it's like, I hate to keep cutting you off of these tangents and all this stuff, but go ahead.
Oliver Ekman-Larsson, analytically, and the eye test has been horrible.
Right.
Last 3 years on Arizona teams. And people have come up with the excuses of like, okay, well, Arizona's been bad. His defensive partners haven't been great.
The off-ice stuff has been way more to focus on for the most part.
It has no merit. And the reason it has no merit is because as they've given him less responsibilities, put him against easier competitions, and played him more sheltered minutes,
right.
Jacob Chikrin's role has increased, and he has solidified himself as an elite defenseman.
And he has become.
That's why that argument has no merit.
Yeah, he's the guy in Arizona on the defensive side.
The defensive deployments over the last couple of years for the Coyotes has been bad, and that's understandable as an argument. I think they ranked 28th the last 3 years defensively in the National Hockey League.
That's also weird having, a coach like Rick Tocchet, who is one of those more defensive side of the puck kind of coaches.
Canucks have been even worse the last 3 years defensively. So like here is
Tyler
the key
Myers,
in this.
Jordy Ben.
Here's the key in this, okay? For Oliver Ekman-Larsson, he's not going to be playing first pairing minutes because you got Quinn Hughes. Where this has potential to maybe turn around for the Coyotes or for the Canucks.
I'm trying to think, because I can never think of sides like what
Brad Shaw.
Yes. Okay.
That's where this is how the Canucks have to do it. Quinn Hughes is solid offensively, shaky defensively, but there's a lot of potential there.
Brad
if
is
I'm
a very
fan,
solid
I have to be excited about Brad Shaw because look at Zach Werenski.
Yeah, he is a very, very solid defensive coach.
And those are two pretty similar talents. I feel like Quinn Hughes and Zach Werenski are those are similar guys.
A 7th overall pick and an 8th overall pick.
I would be excited if I'm a Canucks fan about Brad Shaw because I'm looking at Zach Werenski and I'm saying, well, God, Quinn could if Quinn could become that. I mean, I think Quinn's better offensively than Zach is. I think Zach's better defensively than Quinn is, but like you put those two, they're pretty much on similar levels. If you balance out his game, he's an elite defenseman.
Quinn like I said, a 7th and an 8th overall. Like
so,
the discrepancy there shouldn't be huge.
You have a guy that you just brought back in Travis Hamonic, who has been up and down in terms of analytics, but over the course of his career has been an analytical darling. Last year wasn't great, but he's got a good track record.
And he's got a very solid. I think he's also got a very solid eye test, Travis Hamonic.
Yes, I would agree with that too. I think you pair Hamonic with Oliver Ekman-Larsson. You put those guys on the second pair, and you pray to God that Brad Shaw can at least make Oliver Ekman-Larsson respectable defensively again. To at least a point where maybe you can deal Ekman-Larsson 2 or 3 years down the line without having to trade assets to get rid of him.
Maybe.
That's how you can win this trade if you're the Canucks.
Maybe.
If they're at a point where they have to buy out Oliver Ekman-Larsson or trade prospects or picks to get rid of his contract,
already saw what a buyout would look like.
I don't know at any point if a buyout it makes sense, especially with their cap situation. So they're putting themselves in a situation where they have to make this work.
Yes, this is definitely like
this is high risk, high reward because your high risk is Oliver Ekman-Larsson. Your high reward is Connor Garland.
Right.
You have to, Garland's going to be good for you. You have to pray not that Oliver Ekman-Larsson regains form is the elite defenseman he was.
He doesn't need to be 25
he
again.
He has to be respectable defensively and at least responsible in his own end, so much so that he's not a liability to your organization.
Right.
And that's ultimately what I wanted to say about the deal.
Sure. I mean, this is all on Jim now. And, like, it's going to fall on him how this
Everything falls on this guy. I mean, this guy has, like I said, it's the facets of being a general manager. He's made some pretty good trades. I think he's good at trading.
Oh, yeah.
I think he's excellent at drafting.
Sure.
I think he's fucking terrible at free agency.
Oh, yeah.
Like, so it's like, it's hard to analyze this. This guy would be an excellent assistant GM on any team because you could put him as, he can lead the scouting department.
Mhm.
You can rely on this guy to draft. You cannot rely on this guy to put the checkbook away when July 1st rolls around. In this case, it was July 23rd, but July 1st free agency rolls around. This guy, you cannot rely on him.
It's a weird.
And this could be the first bad contract the Canucks have that he actually didn't even sign, but he's responsible for because he traded for it.
This is a very strange, like, the National Hockey League this upcoming season, especially with having a 32nd team now, is going to look extremely strange.
Yes.
It's going to be the weirdest full season any of us have ever watched.
Yeah.
I want to talk about something very quickly that I think may have changed by now. But a couple of days ago, the team near where you go to school had 0 listed goalies on their cap friendly page.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen just no section.
Let me tell you, man, they're the gift that keeps on giving.
Like, what the hell are they gonna do? Do they have somebody now?
They have. So they signed to league minimum deals. They signed Craig Anderson to a 1-year deal.
Oh, God.
They signed Aaron Dell to a 1-year deal.
They did sign Aaron Dell, which he's solid.
Yeah.
Solid guy. Will play.
I don't know if he's solid. He's okay. He's all right.
He was he was a hell of a lot better than Martin
relatively
Jones.
Fine. That's a very low bar, though.
He was a hell of a lot better than Martin Jones in San Jose.
I could name you about 90 goalies that are a hell of a lot better than Martin Jones.
But then you also bring in a guy like Craig Anderson, which, like, is he gonna play?
So essentially what I've read of as far as that's concerned is Craig Anderson was interested in retiring, right. But he's signing with Buffalo because he wants to be a mentor to Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, who is the guy that the Sabres are desperately relying on to be the franchise goalie. They drafted him in the 2nd round, I believe, in 2017. Yeah. He's an outstanding goalie prospect at the time. I think his development, at least from what I've seen in person in Rochester and just looking at the numbers, has kind of stagnated a little bit, which is incredibly concerning because this is a guy that the Sabres really cannot afford to mess up. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, look, you got a guy, a veteran like Craig Anderson, who has had an outstanding career. Mm-hmm. I think he's a good guy to have mentor Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen in this situation. You don't need Craig Anderson really to start you many games. I wouldn't be surprised if the Sabres go into this next season carrying 3 goalies for that exact reason, where we're splitting time mainly between UPL and Aaron Dell, but Anderson's consistently around. He might make some starts here and there, and he's kind of almost an extension of the coaching staff.
Well, you could do that, but then again, if he's contemplating retirement and he wanted to, could have just hired him on as a goaltending consultant coach or something. Like, you could have done that.
You could have. I think that what I said probably makes the most sense in terms of what Craig Anderson might be wanting to do, where he can basically coach but still play.
And I think the same thing with Henrik Lundqvist, just as another, like, older guy on that end of his career. Like, he wants to play again. He wants to be out there.
Yeah, and unfortunately for him, I mean, he never got a chance to play for Washington. It's looking like that's never going to happen because they had Vitek Vanacek and Ilya Samsonov. It's going to be interesting to see if there's any spots that open up that maybe he could sign. I
Well,
don't really
again,
know.
you could do what you said, make him a number 3, and he can maybe make, I don't know, 10 max starts,
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if he's interested in that. That could be something that
like break
a
glass
team
in
like
case of
Washington
emergency
does.
kind of thing.
Yeah, you never know. Or maybe he just kind of, waits in the weeds a little bit, keeps himself in shape, tries to make sure that he's not straining himself too much. And if there's any injuries throughout the season to major goalies and teams need it, he could be an option to sign mid-season.
Or he could just play poster child and look pretty like all Swedes do.
What a gorgeous looking man.
It's like him, Wenberg, Pedersen, they all have like that comb back flow that's just like, oh,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Doesn't matter if it's Sweden or Finland. I mean,
they're like Erik Karlsson has some of the best hair in this league.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some things I want to get to from today. Kind of tiny-ish. One a little bit bigger than the other. Torts got hired at ESPN today.
Yeah, I'm excited for him. I mean, he was good.
I'm excited. I'm very
TSN.
Excited.
The last time that he had an analyst job, it was
2008.
To watch. Yeah.
And I definitely can see like him getting a sticky kind of segment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can see him getting like, a Shaq versus Charles Barkley type of deal.
Be interesting to see who they put him on set with to rile him up.
Yeah. If he brings like former players that he used to coach, like imagine him and Dan Girardi shooting the shit.
That'd be great.
Him and St. Louis, even like hell. Please.
Yeah, those two are close.
Like,
I wish Marty was still here running the power play. That was like the greatest month in Blue Jackets history with the power play.
That's true. He was great. He was really well because he wasn't even a coach. He was a consultant.
He was a consultant, and he was just like, "Hey, why don't you try this thing out?" And we were like,
yeah.
"Okay," and then it worked.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm super happy for Torts, and I'm very excited to actually watch ESPN for once. You know what I mean? And like him and Messier, oh, that'd be fun. That would be very fun.
Should we talk about the Tampa Bay Lightning being back on their bullshit?
I want to get to E Kane first.
Oh yeah, that's
This is tough because what's the developments on like him betting on games? I heard his fiance or his wife or girlfriend or whatever came out and said no.
I think soon to be ex-wife.
Oh, yuck.
Yeah, it's rough. Let me tell you, I'm just going to be 100% transparent here.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I'm always willing to listen to people.
Mm-hmm.
Gambling addiction is a sickness, much like alcoholism.
Right.
And I have an incredible amount of sympathy to anybody who's going through a gambling addiction or alcoholism or drug problems and whatnot,
mm-hmm.
because it's a sickness and
right.
these people need help. And I feel for those people.
Who knows how much this actually was,
Yeah.
If it's true, who knows how much of it, was involved in his bankruptcy case.
You'd have to imagine it's a significant amount because he had a lot of debt, and it's clear that this guy has been struggling with this issue for quite some time.
And
However,
Go ahead.
This is a guy who has had multiple cases in the past, run-ins with the law for misconducts, issues, run-ins with women in the past, mistreating them.
Mm-hmm.
The timeline, if you look at this guy, is rough as it gets.
Well, you also look, you know, I'm going to bring it back into the locker room because there was an Athletic article that Kevin Kurz came out with today.
I saw that, yeah.
That said that teammates don't want him anymore. Teammates, like, and we saw it in Buffalo. It was okay-ish in Winnipeg. And then he goes to San Jose and he lights it up and he's amazing. And everybody's like, you know, he was the star winger. And now it's like, what's going on? Is it just a resurfacing of things we saw with other teams? Like, what is this? What's Evander? We want answers.
On July 1st, 2016, Evander Kane was sued by a 21-year-old woman who accused him of assaulting her in the hotel room where he lived. According to court documents, the woman alleged that Kane met her in a bar, invited her back to what he said was a party, and then attacked her, causing cuts and bleeding that required multiple surgeries. On March 14th.
I actually gagged. I'm sorry.
Yeah. On November 4th, 2019, Kane was sued by the Cosmopolitan Casino in Las Vegas after he walked out on a $500,000 gambling debt. The suit alleged that Kane had received $500,000 in gambling markers from the casino in April while the Sharks were in Las Vegas for a playoff series against the Vegas Golden Knights. Such markers are essentially lines of credit which allow casino guests to continue gambling, and those extended to Kane were dispersed in 8 separate installments ranging in value from $20,000 to $100,000. The suit claims that Kane left this casino without making arrangements to settle the debt. The casino sought full restitution plus repayment of legal fees associated with the lawsuit.
Oh, this is all.
He's had multiple allegations in the past, like I said, of violence, assaulting women, whatnot.
Your static's back.
Of course it is.
It's like, it was really just, yeah, this is bad. This is an awful look for the sport. And I mean, there's so much negativity going on. And I mean, we'll talk about, because I guess we're into the heavy portion of the show.
He is. And here's the point that I wanted to make that I said I might be wrong on. I might be dead wrong for saying this. And if I am, let me know.
Do you want to like fix your game, maybe turn it down?
Sure. Is that better?
A little bit.
Is that better now?
Just roll with it. Just roll with it. We need to keep going.
Roll it. Okay. This guy has a much bigger problem than just the game.
Oh, yeah.
And while I feel sympathy for the fact that he has the illness of gambling addiction, I can sympathize with just about anybody who's going through a struggle with drugs or alcohol or gambling, because it's a sickness, like I mentioned.
Yeah.
I don't feel any sympathy for him as a person because of who he is.
Right.
I feel none for this guy, because this guy has shown on multiple occasions in the past that he's not a good person.
His own personal decisions.
His decisions are detrimental to his life and his career. And not only that, they're detrimental to other people. Other people are victims of this guy. And as a result of that, I don't really feel that much for this dude. I feel a lot of sympathy for anybody who's going through a struggle like this. But when you have this kind of path, I kind of shrug my shoulders a little bit. I'm not going to lie to you.
I mean, it's his fault.
It is.
It's
the other things are his fault. gambling, like sure, I can feel the sympathy for the gambling, but like as far as him as a person, I'm not sitting here feeling sorry for him as a person
Correct.
because of who he is.
Yeah.
If this were any other player, if Jonathan Toews had a gambling addiction, the hockey community in general would all come together and feel for this guy, and we would all be supportive, and we would want there to be anything to happen for this good person.
Yes.
To get back on track with this.
Correct.
Life. Not many people are going to feel any sympathy for Vander Kane because of who he is.
Yeah. It's a tough situation for him to be in, but he brought it on himself.
It's just
like the piling on of everything that he's done.
Yes, it's the cherry on top of his whole career of a multitude of things that he has done. And it's at what point do I still have to have sympathy for you, dog? Like, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I don't.
So no wonder even guys like Brent Burns are saying, "Get the fuck out of here."
Yeah, I mean, why wouldn't you? I don't know. Like, there's some people in life that you sometimes just don't have that sympathy for because of who they are. Now, I don't want to make any extreme comparisons, and say Vander Kane is like this person. But you know what? I feel like most people probably wouldn't care if maybe this is a terrible comparison. Again, I'm not saying these two people are alike, but if it came out that, oh man, Hitler had a gambling addiction. What I mean?
Let's not. No.
But you understand what I'm saying. You understand what I'm saying.
I get what you're saying, but
I'm not making that comparison between those two people. But you have a person you don't feel sympathy for going through that because of who they are.
Yeah.
Again, make it clear that that's not what I'm saying. It's more so just, like I said, a rough comparison. But
so
maybe if you want to cut that part out, but I don't know. Do you understand what I'm saying?
People will get it. It's a bit of a harsh.
It is. It's a harsh. That's why I said they're not the same person, but like everybody knows who that person is. So
it's sure. It's not like we're gonna get banned off of YouTube for saying his name.
Yeah.
Unless, Twitter might take the tweet down, but who the hell knows? So anyway, speaking of, because again, we're in the rough edges of the show. I'm going to do a little bit, something a little heavier, a little lighter, but it's still on that ew spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
Rangers bought out Buchnevich. Carolina signed
D'Angelo.
Or Buchnevich. Yeah, D'Angelo. I was looking at Buchnevich's name in my notes.
Yeah, that was a weird trade for Buchnevich, but we can get to that another time. But D'Angelo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they buy out D'Angelo after 6 days of having the guy play.
Yeah.
And we've known that this was probably coming because of previous stories and the situation with punching. Which one was it? Was it
Alexander Georgiev? Yeah.
Georgiev. Yeah, when he punched Georgiev walking into the tunnel, and we know these stories of him being a dick. And again, I'm trying not to curse as much as the show goes on, but he's a dick.
Yeah, there's really no other way to describe him. I mean, look, this guy was drafted 19th overall by the Lightning in 2014.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason he fell to 19 was not because of his talent.
Right.
Like he was this dude could have been a top 5 pick in that draft. But, the story of he got suspended for something he said to a teammate. There's been a lot of stories over the years, man. I mean, my problem is the fact that it's how many chances do you want to give a guy? Because we see in hockey there are ultimately too many second chances, I believe, that are given out, because everybody talks about this is a second chance. It's not a second chance for him. It's not.
This is his
second chance. Yeah, his second chance came when the Lightning overlooked what had happened and said, we'll draft you in the first round.
Yeah.
His second chance came when the Arizona Coyotes traded for him.
That's 3.
Or his third chance.
That's
his
3.
Fourth chance came when the Rangers traded for him.
Yep. And now this is
And his
5.
fifth, yeah.
This is 5.
This is 5. Like this is a pattern. This is who you are.
Say enough?
Like at some point you have to like understand, like, you know, Carolina's talking about like, you know, take the steps and, you know, make sure he's in the best environment possible and put him in the best position to succeed and make sure that he's a good teammate. And we've heard nothing but good things. It's like, dog, what, like, who the hell are you listening to?
Yeah, who did you hear that from?
Are you listening to NYR fan 7 bunch of numbers on Twitter, who is the alleged Tony D'Angelo burner account?
Yeah,
is that who you're listening to?
But, I mean, political opinions aside, because
yeah, here's the thing, like, I don't think it's hard to figure out which way I lean if you look at my Twitter.
And same with me, but I don't put a lot of my politics out there at the same time. I don't dislike this guy because I disagree with him politically. There's a lot of guys that in the look, it's a predominantly white league. Zach Werenski leans that way too. It's not that. There are plenty.
It's that this guy's just a dick.
I'm okay. Self-admittedly conservative male. I'm just going to put that out there.
So, admittedly, liberal male.
We don't talk about politics to each other.
But
for
you and
specific,
are friends. Do you see that?
Good friends.
Yeah. Do you see how it can work?
We host a show together. This is how it is. What are we doing here?
But this dude, like,
what is this guy?
That. It's not that. It's just that this guy's a dick.
It's exactly. This is what it is. I don't know how else to say it.
Yeah, this guy, like,
maybe if I want to put one more hockey comparison in there before we jump back to the draft because of reasons. Raffi Torres, which again, I mean, they made comparisons with Raffi Torres and Tom Wilson for hockey reasons.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm saying the same type of disciplinary system where it's like you do something, you get, punished. You do something, you get punished more. You do the third something, you get more, and up and up and up. Where's the cutoff to say you're done?
Yeah, because at the end of the day, people often like look at things, I feel like, the wrong way. They think like, oh, trading him is a punishment. It's not punishment. It's another chance. Buying him out is a punishment. Yeah, maybe. But if he gets signed, it's another chance.
But it's also, it's a punishment both ways if you buy him out. Because you still have to pay this guy.
Yeah, you still pay the guy. Yeah, exactly. Like, this guy's still making money.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It's frustrating with this guy because, God, you look, the talent's there. He's a right-hand shot defenseman who could give you 60 points in a season.
We know how right-handed shots on D are coveted so much right now.
Valuable. Yes, this guy could absolutely be an outstanding defenseman. We know it with this guy.
Yeah.
And he got bought out because he's a dick.
And he got bought out by the Rangers,
who need defense.
And they're the most valuable franchise in the sport.
Yes.
They have the craziest owner, if I'm being frank.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Like, this dude has maybe cost himself anywhere from $20 to $30 million in his career. Like by the time it's all said and done, he will have cost himself that much money. Just because he's a dick.
Yeah, just from being an asshole. Like,
yeah. Like, it's unbelievable.
It's okay. That one's done. On to the next one. How do I start this? How do I start this one?
I don't know, dog. I'm just so sick of this shit.
This sport needs a change. It needs a culture change.
It does. Yeah.
It needs a culture change bad. And
I want to say something about the Montreal Canadiens, because this is where we're going.
Yes, we're gonna go here, and then we're gonna go to the Windy City.
Yeah. Oh God, the Windy City one's gonna be rough, dude. the Montreal Canadiens literally drafted a player who asked not to be drafted.
That was the weirdest part to me.
Why did he ask not to be drafted, Jake?
He asked, and let's name this kid, Logan Mallioux, right? Eligible for this draft. Good player. Plays on the London Knights. If we're just looking at the hockey of it right now.
Right-hand shot defenseman.
Plays on the biggest franchise in the Ontario Hockey League, right?
Yes. Yep.
He asked in a written statement not to be drafted because of and let's preface this with
A sex crime.
Let's just trigger warning for whatever.
Oh, yes.
Trigger warnings for here
Yeah.
and Chicago.
Yes, 100%. And we'll put that in the description too.
We'll put it
Like,
in,
yeah. Yeah, it's
a sex crime. Let's be blunt. A sex crime.
It's what it was. It was a sex crime.
And forget that it was in Sweden and their legal system is however different it is.
Yeah.
From both Canada and the US for whatever reason. For reasons because it's another country. Whatever.
I don't know enough about it, but
neither do I.
Yes.
I don't know. We're not lawyers. We're just two schmucks who want to get into sports media. Like,
yes.
The actual story, and you've heard it plenty of times now because it's way over a week old. Had sexual relations with this woman. If I can try to bring a little levity with an impression. Took unconsented pictures and shared it around with his teammates. That's what happened. And then he later said in his statement, do not pick me in the 2021 NHL entry draft so I can take time this season in London to mature as a person and a player. Forget a player, mature as a person.
Yes. And I don't know the kid.
Neither do
Obviously,
I.
Neither
he's a Canadian kid. We're just
we do not know him. Yeah. I don't want to judge this kid that I don't know in terms of the statement because I don't know what this kid's feeling in his heart or thinking in his head.
Right.
But I will not lie to you. The statement felt a little disingenuous because it felt like it felt so PR'd.
You're talking about his statement, right?
Yes, his statement that he put on Twitter asking not to be drafted. It felt to me like that was just PR 101. I don't even know if that kid put that statement out. Maybe he did. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
I heard that he worked on it with his agents.
Yes.
So it was like a whole thing.
My problem with the statement and why I say it seems disingenuous is because this woman literally just wanted an apology. And
nobody's mentioned her anywhere.
Nobody mentions her. It's always, it's the Montreal Canadiens and Logan Mallioux and this and that. No.
Help
There's
her.
An actual person out there suffering right now because of this.
Help her now.
Yes. Yes.
We're just two fans of completely different teams and we're wearing totally different hats from our team or whatever. Help this woman.
Yes. This is ridiculous. She's getting so lost in the weeds in it, and it makes me sick to my freaking stomach about it.
I feel like the team statement that Molson agreed to put out there was worse.
Yes. This whole situation is disgusting. It's disgusting that this kid did this. Absolutely. And I want to preface this with the thing that people will say often. Oh, is this kid not allowed to grow? Is he not allowed to make mistakes?
He's a kid.
Let me tell you.
He was a legal adult when he made this decision to come out with this.
Here's the thing. People calling it a mistake. I'm going to use a quote from one of my favorite men in the world, John Taffer.
Okay.
He'll ask, was that a mistake or was it a choice? And people will often, as an idiot, say, oh, it's a mistake. No, a mistake is when you trip and fall. A choice is when you say, this is what I'm going to do.
Yes.
This was a choice that he made.
It could be subconscious. It could be more forefront conscious. Doesn't matter. He
made the conscious decision
to do it.
To do this and then share it.
Yes.
Both. Even if this kid didn't share it, it's still unacceptable.
Yeah.
That needs to be mentioned. Everything about it is unacceptable from this kid.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing that gets me the most.
Can we do this really fast? And
yes.
Again,
here's the thing that gets me, Jake.
Yeah.
Is everybody is slamming the Montreal Canadiens right now.
Yes.
Do they deserve it?
They're a storied, respected, well-recognized franchise in all of not just hockey, but sports. Right? As an organization.
The answer is obviously yes.
Yeah.
However, do you know what the part of the story that everybody is not talking about is? The reason they selected this kid is because many teams were considering taking him in the second round. Who the fuck are these teams?
Wait a second.
Yeah, that's the report. The Canadiens took him with their first round pick because they didn't pick in the second round. They didn't pick until the third round.
Right.
And they knew he wasn't going to be there in the third round. Who was going to take him? That needs to be reported on. I don't know how you figure it out.
Yeah,
I would like to know who wanted to pick him.
Yeah, I want to know.
Because shame on those teams too. They didn't pick him. They don't have to deal with the heat, but they deserve it.
Yeah.
For even considering it.
Oh, yeah.
Because when you pick this guy in the first round, the Canadiens are the ones who are getting all the heat, and they deserve the heat. But other teams deserve the heat too, because there's a reason he got picked in the first round.
Yeah.
Because there's teams considering taking him in the second round. How can you let this guy mature if you're rewarding him? You cannot say his actions are unacceptable. If his actions are unacceptable, you cannot pick him.
Yes,
not in the first round, not in the second round, not in the third round, not in the fourth round, not in the fifth round, not in the sixth round, not in the seventh round.
You know what should happen?
Not select him.
You know what should happen now that this is the fallout? Renounce the pick like the Coyotes did with Mitchell Miller.
Yeah.
And
it's a shame that you have to shit on these teams just to make them do it.
These are different situations, but they fall under the same
storyline of hockey.
And the same severity of the decisions that are being made.
There's different situations, and I don't want to compare either of them because you don't want to minimize the damage that's done in either case. You don't want to minimize the damage that's done in either case.
Right.
There's two victims on both sides in both stories that have to deal with the fact that these guys were even picked to begin with.
Right.
It's unbelievable, and it's incredibly saddening. And I just want to end off this whole rant by mentioning once again that I really hope this victim is not lost in the weeds.
Please. Listen, media doesn't have to release her name.
No, and they shouldn't. They shouldn't.
You do not do that for her sake. But
I hope there's at least some way she can
get the organization,
some sort of help.
Within the organization, please. If Logan tells you who she is, which, I mean, if you want to grow, do that. And then let the team, the team can help you, but have them help her too.
Yeah.
That's all
more important to me. That's more important to me, in my opinion.
Yeah, put her first.
Put her first.
The thing is, why do these situations come up? And then the main focus from these organizations, yes, your businesses focus on fixing these situations rather than just hockey. Can we put the hockey aside for 5 minutes? It's like we're yelling to 2-year-olds. Put the toys away.
Yeah.
And speaking of putting the toys away, you can boo me all you want for that stupid transition. The next pick after that looked even worse because it wasn't about the kid. It was about the presentation of the pick. Stan Bowman walking out with 8 women who, I mean, they all work for the organization, fine. Don't walk out with all those women while you're under a sexual abuse case. And last week, he made statements. Kevin Cheveldayoff made statements. I'm not going to get into those because those are older news. If you read those statements, good for you. I read Chevy's statement. It was fine. It was PR bullshit. All right. What's new, though, the newest developments on this, the internal investigation that's being conducted by this law firm. The CEO, Dan Wirtz, did agree to allow these findings to become public. That's the latest we've got.
I got to be honest, man. Like
Brad Aldrich shouldn't have a job.
Speechless.
Brad Aldrich should not have a job.
He should never have one again. He should be in prison.
Yeah. And I mean, listen, all the former players, current players that were on that 2010 championship team, please come forward, make a statement against this guy. Whether you heard it through the grapevine, heard it in the locker room, or you were involved in some way, shape, or form with what happened. If you were a victim of it,
yeah,
whatever happened.
Because Nick Boynton came forward
yes.
and spoke about it, and I appreciate him doing that.
I think, didn't Taves say something too recently?
I have no idea. I didn't see him say anything.
Taves may have. I don't know.
All I know is this situation's just disgusting.
It's gross.
And it's so disappointing. It's sad. It's hard to talk about and even think about.
Especially because you're talking about a grown man against other grown men and then moving on to younger people.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, it's like, it's tough. And it ruins
doing things
not
like
that.
Not
that this is important, but like it ruins legacies of Blackhawks players. It changes how everything's viewed. But I just can't get past the fact, again, that the most important thing in this situation are the victims.
And they're not getting released.
Any attention.
They're not getting anything. It's all about the perpetrator.
Yeah. And that's the tough thing with these situations.
Fine. If you, he needs to be known about. This whole thing needs to be fixed.
It's the toughest part about any legal situation like this. The person who does it is always the most known.
Yeah.
But the people who deserve the most attention are the victims.
Exactly.
And they deserve the most help and love.
We're not going to get.
It sucks.
We're not going to get anything until they actually come out with the written statements after the investigation. We're not getting anything from the 2 lawyers that run the league or the lawyer that runs the PA.
Yeah.
Right? We're not going to get anything from them because we know how Bettman and Daly talk.
Yep.
We did hear from Dan Wirtz. Finally, we heard straight from the top.
Yeah.
Right? And he said they are going to make it public, which, great. Thank you.
It's about damn time. It just sucks, man. I mean, the number one thing that I can't help but think about that just breaks my heart.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who these victims are, but man, they've They've been busting at the seams with this for 11 years.
I mean, we technically know one, I guess.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
Boynton.
Yeah.
And I mean, we can't know that for sure that he was a guy unless he comes out and says, yes, this happened to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, the most important thing out of these most recent developments, they are making the findings public.
That's good, I guess. I don't know. It's just it's hard. Like I don't even know what to say about it because it's just such heavy stuff.
It's gonna be an umbrella under their entire regular season once they actually start playing.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I would have such a tough time being a Blue Jackets fan if that ever happened.
Me too. It's just, I don't even want to think about it happening over here, especially because they've built such a good culture.
Yeah, it's sad.
It's very sad. Anyway,
I just don't know what else to say. It's so hard to talk about.
You want some good Blackhawks news, and then we can move on to like actual maybe like moves.
Sure.
Brinksy got married.
Oh yeah.
Congrats, Alex DeBricket.
Yeah. That's true.
I can't remember his wife's name off the top of my head, but I did see that. So yeah, congrats to the DeBrickets. Let's see. We talked about the D'Angelo buyout. Hyman got his deal done.
Oh God, that's a terrible contract. Just because of the term.
I mean, yeah, for a guy that just turned 30. He's got
a guy who plays the way that he does.
I mean, he's also got his payday, and this was his one chance to get his payday, right?
Yeah.
And he's playing with Connor, or he will most likely be playing with either one of Connor or Leon to his right.
I mean, even if they
put him on the right, it's to his
Well, even if they decide like, hey, let's put
him on the third,
Leon and Connor together with maybe someone like Yamamoto or Pugliardi, they can still put him on the second line and put him with Nuge.
Yeah, like the center depth, having those three guys, what you need is being able to have Leon consistently play second line in order to make your depth work.
Yeah.
And then when push comes to shove, especially on like power play time, load them up. Put Leon and McDavid together on power play and fly, have fun, right?
Right.
You still sound very
very down. Very down, man. It's tough stuff, man.
You want to talk about your trip real quick before?
No, I'm fine. We got
sure?
Yeah, I'm good.
Oh man,
I'm good.
I'm just trying to make you feel better.
What do we have next?
You went to the Tribe game. That was fun, right?
Yeah, they lost.
It's still fun going to a game.
Yeah, it was.
It's always fun.
Good tickets.
Yeah, good seats are always nice. Last time I went to a Reds game, our seats were like right in front of the smokestacks in right field. It was really cool. That was the game that Castellanos got hurt.
Oh, pain.
I know. And we got and bullpen blew it, and we got lit up by the Brewers 11-6. Anyway. We talked about talked about Jonesy, regular season, Jake Bean, that one, Hyman, D'Angelo. Risto's joining Cam in Philly.
How the hell did Buffalo pull this trade off?
I don't know. Kevin Adams is actually doing a good
Rasmus
job.
Ristolainen sucks. Now, granted, with the 14th overall pick, they picked Isaac Rosen, which was not a great pick. So I guess they kind of balanced that out a little bit, but they still got a 7th and a 2nd out of it.
Yeah, they got assets.
Or just a 2nd. Yeah.
They got an asset.
Yeah. They got some assets. I mean, look, Rasmus Ristolainen sucks. Robert Hag kind of sucks too, so that kind of cancels each other out.
Meh.
But they got the 14th overall pick and a 2023rd second. So I mean, look at that, recuperating assets.
How much you want to bet Risto's going to trip over his stick again?
I'd love to see it.
Do you remember that?
Funny, yeah, it was like funny. Like what
it
up
ran
against the
around
boards against the
and then he
Penguins.
just falls over backwards. Oh, that was good. I want to say no, that was against Tampa because I remember hearing Johnson on the play-by-play.
That was it really?
I think so.
Those Penguins.
Yeah, it was.
Maybe it was Tampa. I don't know.
It was Tampa. Buchnevich got traded to St. Louis for Sammy Blais. I mean,
and a
okay.
second. Oof, okay. Don't know what the hell Rangers are doing there, but look, I mean, Buchnevich is a solid pickup for
and he got
St. Louis.
He got his extension signed already. Good.
It's a reasonable deal. I mean, this guy passes
For a
the
guy
eye
like
test,
Buchnevich, yeah.
analytics, everything. He's excellent.
Yes.
Excellent top 6 guy for the Blues.
We talked about your Nostradamus trade already.
Yeah.
Taylor Hall sticking around in Boston.
I'm not too surprised. I mean, this guy's
like
got to be
that,
sick. This guy's got to be sick and tired of losing. So sticking with the Bruins is not a bad idea.
I like that though. I mean, it's hard because he played with Krejci at center, and Krejci's going back to the Czech league.
Yeah, that's a big loss for them. But I still like him. Our second line.
Yeah,
you know.
I mean, who would you put? I like him and Smith on the wings, but who do you put in the middle?
They might try Trent Frederick out there.
Maybe that would be fun.
Yeah,
that would actually be a lot of fun.
I know they like him a lot, so that
I like Trent Frederick, and this is a guy that just
unless they feel comfortable with Charlie Coyle taking over second line.
I don't.
I think he's best fitted for the third line.
Yeah,
though,
if
you got a little bit more
Bruce,
skill out of Frederick, so you might as well put him.
If I'm Bruce Cassidy, I would definitely try Trent there, and then keep Charlie where he's comfortable.
Yeah,
but that's just me. But I honestly love it. Taylor Hall in Boston is a really fun fit.
Yeah,
and they need fun on that second line.
I think they do too. I mean, they've struggled with secondary scoring outside of the perfection line.
Yeah,
not really going to struggle with that anymore when you got Taylor Hall.
No, yeah. And
I mean, he was good in the playoffs too. I mean, he was good as a Bruin.
Yeah,
when they picked him up, like it was a fit, and that's what he needs. And I think it was smart for him to say, you know what, I'm willing to take a little bit less money. It's still $6 million for the next 4 years. It's still a good contract. Still have an opportunity when that contract's over to maybe make more money.
Yeah.
But
I know we're deep into this, but let's just apologize for your mic.
Yes,
this episode.
My bad.
Just real quick, let's just apologize for that, for like everything that's going on. But yeah, Taylor staying, I like it. Now, if only they could get Tyler back, and then getting Taylor and Tyler together would be a hell of a lot of fun.
1 and 2, baby.
Taylor versus Tyler? No, Taylor and Tyler.
Yeah.
It's really fun. Buffalo again. Sam's out the door heading to the Panthers.
Yeah, Devin Levi and a first-round pick going the other way.
I wanted him.
Yeah, I wanted him too. I don't know if I wanted to pay a hefty price to get him. I'm kind of fine with where our situation's at right now. But
I mean, they also
he's a solid player.
They didn't pay much of a hefty price.
Levi's a solid goaltending prospect that the Panthers didn't need anymore with Spencer Knight. And
yeah, a pick and a top guy, a pick and a top prospect guy. Like,
yeah,
we could have done that maybe with, like, I don't know, Tarasov.
Yeah.
As much as I would love to see Tarasov up here, but we could have done.
I think the other thing that drives his price down is the fact that he's an RFA and you still gotta work out the contract situation. So that maybe turned the Blue Jackets off from him. But I still like where we're at right now.
I mean, Yarmo does work well with RFAs. Speaking of RFAs, I forgot to mention back when we had all that Columbus talk that Patty did take his qualifying offer.
Yep.
Yay. That's all I really
Excitement.
excited snake noises.
Like I said, I'm excited. I want to see how he does with Jake on the first line. You know, I don't know.
Who do you put there first? Do you try Jack and then you try Max, or what do you do? Do you go out and get a filler guy?
Well, Max is going to be hurt, so you're going to have to start out with
that's right.
with
Maybe
Jack.
Jack.
So I would, my first line would be Jake Voracek, Jack Roslovic, and Patrick Laine.
Put Patty back on the right.
Yeah. Yeah, you can work it either way.
Sure. I mean, because they've both played left hand, right?
Exactly. So whichever one they feel more comfortable with doesn't really matter to me. And God, I mean, think about that. A good problem to have. Oliver Bjorkstrand on your second line.
Oh yeah. Oh
That's
yeah.
nice.
That's nice. That's actually really
and
cool.
more than likely, I mean, Gus is going to be back, so you can put Gus
yes!
on the line
oh my God,
with Bjorkstrand.
Why do I keep forgetting about Nyquist? Like, just
because he was hurt last year.
Because we didn't hear about him any. And it's like, oh yeah, we have Nyquist. But yeah, like Nyquist with, I mean, I guess temporarily, maybe Corrali or Max. And Bjorky.
I don't know if I put.
I
don't know if I put Sean Corelli on the second line. Maybe you could put Boone there.
I like Boone better as third, but that's me.
Yeah, I like him in a third line role, but I mean, if you look at, and I know I keep bringing him up. If you look at the analytics, he actually drives offense pretty well. He's just not the best finisher.
He has the skill to be like solidified 2-3.
Yeah, no, he's a good middle six guy.
Yes,
100%.
And your perfect penalty kill center.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, we praised him last episode for how much he does for the PK. But yeah. We already vented about Cam leaving. You know. Right?
Yeah.
Which, hey, good luck to you, brother. We're gonna miss you.
100%.
And I never got to meet him because, again, Oliver's the only one I've actually gotten to meet, but would have loved to have met him. He's one of those guys, like, you know, I feel like he's one of those guys where he's personable to everybody and he remembers your name, kind of thing. Like, he would remember who you are out of a sea of people.
I've met him a couple of times. He's a really nice guy. It hasn't been in a while, but still, my experiences with him has been very pleasant.
Well, it's like Ellie with Boone, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? I mean, don't like, and that's not a shot at her. We love her. She's
no, that's a compliment to how good of a guy Boone is.
Yeah,
how awesome he is.
Exactly. To pick out his number one fan every time.
Yeah.
And I mean, honestly, I miss her too.
Oh, 100%. I haven't seen her forever.
Yeah, I know. Can't wait for this season to start just to see people again.
Right.
Another couple minor ones. Bennett re-signed in Florida, 4 years, $4.4 million, excuse me.
A little bit of a hefty price for quite a small sample size of success in Florida, but they're banking on the idea that that's who he is with the team.
I think that is who he is, personally. Calgary just never gave him the chance to show it.
I don't know. It's tough. The guy plays well in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I don't think he was the bum that people thought he was in Calgary.
No.
I think it's somewhere in the middle. I think he's
like I said,
someone who's solid in your middle six, but 4.4, I don't know if I would have given him that.
Like I said, I don't think he got the chance that he needed.
Yeah.
In Calgary.
Yeah, perhaps. I mean, he always had guys ahead of him, at least down the middle, with Monahan and Lindholm. So, and Backlund too.
Yeah.
So his opportunities were relatively limited to flourish in that kind of a role that he needed.
Mm-hmm.
I still don't think I would sign him for that kind of money. I would have preferred a bridge deal of maybe signing him to a 2-year extension, where maybe you're paying him 3.5.
Well, we'll see if this is Bill's first egg, right?
Yeah, maybe it's not. Maybe I'm just underestimating him.
I mean, we shouldn't, because we saw him make the moves that he did.
No, I was
for as long as we did.
Underestimating Sam Bennett.
Oh yeah, okay.
No,
Yeah,
I like Bill Zito a lot.
Don't underestimate the Zito.
No, I'm not underestimating him at all. I'm just
Zito.
saying this is his first, I believe, risky move.
God, imagine if his first name was Don. And like you could pull like a full Sopranos scene with him. Welcome to Don Zito's office. You know?
You're a goof.
I love it. Okay. There's a few more like big ones from the free agency day that I want to hit, I guess. We got the trade that was Kemper for Timmins, a first and a fourth.
That's another win for the Coyotes, and the fact that, I mean, sure, losing Kemper kind of sucks, but he had 1 year left on his deal. Getting a solid defenseman prospect like Connor Timmins is good. Yeah. Getting a first round pick is good. Just keep adding. You know what I mean?
What do you think? Kemper, Francouz, then will be 1-2 punch for the year.
Yep.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Gruber. I mean, as Fallout,
I like Kemper more than I like Grubauer, to be honest with you.
I mean, just like as Fallout, you know, Gruby going to these guys is pretty fun. They get their starter finally.
Yeah.
And they lock him up long term, which is nice because they need to start getting guys for the long haul.
Yeah, they got their goaltending tandem for the next 3 years with him and Drieger.
Yeah, for sure. That's good. I'm trying to think. So there's that one. Talked about Zach. I'm flip-flopping up and down my notes here. Bennett, we just talked about him. Stastny's coming back to Winnipeg for another year. Cool.
Yeah. I think that's all we have to say about that.
cool and good.
Yeah.
He fits there just he fits there just fine. His kind of place. Whatever. Good luck, Paul. You know? Best thing we could do there. Okay. Because all I have is like free agency in big things. There were way too many signings for me to even think of.
Yeah.
I do want to hit this last bombshell though. And I think you know where I'm going with this.
I don't know. We've talked about so much.
Why don't you find out through Twitter?
Are you asking me to go on my Twitter right now?
Why don't you just check Twitter and see if you can find some news about it?
Not making me go on Twitter.
Hey, Flower, you heard any news yet?
Oh, I'm an idiot. I didn't even get the rep. Oh my god! Oh my god! Wow. I went on my freaking Twitter to look. I was like, "What is he talking about?" It just said I missed something. I'm so stupid. Oh my lord.
Alan.
Oh my god.
Okay, Alan Walsh was right about.
Looks like he was right after all. Yeah, the sword looks like he was right after all.
All he missed was who was doing the stabbing.
Yeah.
You just need McCrimmon.
Yeah.
Instead of DeBoer.
I don't even want to talk about this. I feel so stupid right now. I want to walk out.
I got you.
What is he talking about? Oh, it's NBA news.
I got you so good. Okay, yes. What the hell are you doing, Kelly?
Now, okay, here's the thing. They traded him for a bag of pucks. Now,
Yeah, because the prospect that they got is going to stay in Rockford.
Like, they traded him for nothing.
Essentially.
And honestly, with 1 year left on his contract to free up $7 million in cap, it's not
For
a
a
bad move.
Hall of Famer, though.
My problem isn't the return. My problem is you didn't tell
the
this
way
guy.
they handled it. No. So what I heard was he talked with Bill Foley in an elevator. It's like him and his wife and Foley. And he said, and he even, put it out in a written statement, we want him to retire a Golden Knight. We want him to stay here.
Mm-hmm.
Do you really now?
I guess I just got rid of him because they didn't think he was going to retire. Clearly, they would have been right. He was going to play for the team in Chicago that should remain nameless because we're all upset them right now.
I will say that it's nice that he is going to commit to continue to play.
Yeah, it is nice because, I mean, the league isn't better off without Marc-Andre Fleury. I mean, he's one of the nicest guys, great smile. I mean, he brings joy to everybody.
Premier talent.
Yeah, and he's had an unbelievable career. I feel so bad for the way that happened. Has there been
he was a
more disrespected star in the National Hockey League than this dude?
He was the first face of the, modern era cup winning Penguins. I mean, co-face.
Yeah, because
of that core.
when they built that core, it was Fleury in 03 first overall, then Gino second in the next year, and then it was Sid, and then George Stahl the next year. So
right.
They several years in a row were terrible as they were trying to build this thing up, and he was the first of that group to be selected, and it was all on him elevating his game in the playoffs, taking him to the Cup final in 2008, and then coming back the next year against the same Red Wings team and finding a way to win. He had an incredible career in Pittsburgh, and then he was kind of shoved aside, kind of disrespected. Now, granted, Matt Murray won the Cup in 2016. People forget that Fleury won 10 of the 16 games in the playoffs in 2017.
You mentioned that the last.
And I feel for this guy because it's like, why does he keep getting disrespected over and over? He's one of the nicest guys ever. He's had an unbelievable career. I just don't get it.
Yeah, he is literally they call him Flower for a reason.
Yeah. I don't know. I just don't get it. I feel bad for him, but I'm happy that he's going to continue to play.
Yeah.
And I hope that once this year is over and his contract is up, he continues to play, or if he wants to retire, if that's what he feels is best for him, do it. Whatever makes you happy, dog.
He's got.
I love watching him,
and I like, as much as I hated playing against him.
Of course.
Having to boo the Penguins is one thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you can't boo Marc-Andre Fleury.
Yeah.
And it's like he was the face, or again, like I said, co-face of the Penguins franchise for the first however many years, right?
Yeah. He was a triple-headed monster. I mean, it was Sid. And then, Gino and Fleury.
And Mark, yeah. And then he gets picked and revealed as the first face of the franchise for the Vegas Golden Knights.
God, he took him to a cup final his first year.
Dude, how amazing would that be for, seriously, imagine being a Vegas fan, like a brand new Vegas fan. Get introduced to the sport, everything. And that's your first year?
Yeah.
Sign me up. Right?
No, we've never experienced that. And we've been watching this team. I've been watching this team for over a decade.
I've been watching for a little over half a decade.
Yeah. It's like we don't know what that's like.
Exactly.
They experienced that in their first year.
Exactly. It's tough to we've made one second round appearance. That's the furthest we've gone. And to have this Hall of Fame caliber guy as the face of your franchise for the first 4 years, and then just
And not only do you trade him for nothing, but you don't even text him.
you don't. It's not even like you. It's not like don't text Alan Walsh. Text Mark himself.
Yeah.
Text Marc-Andre Fleury and say, "Hey, we made this deal." And it, like, seriously,
I can't wrap my head around that, man. Like, I just can't. Especially as some like it wouldn't make sense if Marc-Andre Fleury was an asshole. The fact that he's a nice guy just adds another layer to why this is so confusing.
The fact that he's like one of the nicest guys.
Yes.
It just makes me sick.
Yeah.
Like, I know it's a business, but guys,
This league makes me sick.
how are we fans?
I don't know. Maybe because the sport's awesome. The
Yeah.
sport's awesome. The league sucks.
Yeah. Imagine it. I like to just imagine that it wasn't even Marc-Andre Fleury scrolling through Twitter. It was Alan, and then Alan called him
Yeah, it was like
and said, buddy, found something.
He didn't even just text him. He just like shared the tweet with him.
Oh, like they just having lunch one day,
Yeah.
and he's just like, he just does this.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? God. So yeah, that's all I've got news wise, at least until whatever else. Did you find anything? Anything
No,
like
I got
breaking
nothing
that's
else.
like big?
Yeah, nothing else.
Nothing crazy. I'm not seeing anything on like the trending pages. Really.
I think that's pretty much it for this one, man.
Dog days, man. I will say that I mean, I'll just reminisce about vacation for a second.
Yeah.
for just a second. We went to this place that my stepdad used to go to, or my stepdad went to when he was a kid. That was like way up high at the top of the Smokies. It was like some sort of I keep forgetting the name of this place, but it was great just to be that up high. And then obviously like shopping around, getting the merch that I got. Like, I'm pretty sure I texted you I don't know if I actually texted you the picture. You saw it on my Snapchat.
Yeah.
Pictures of like wearing the Pred shirt and the hat
And the Kraken
shades.
hat, yeah.
Like I was decked out. We went to some great, places to eat. We went to this like 50s style diner.
Oh, nice.
It was like all 50s themed. It was fun. Fanny Farkle's foot long corn dog. Right.
Right.
Always. My brother and I went up on the Space Needle. That was a good view of the strip. Like I said, we went on the ski lift and the glass bridge, looking down on the glass bridge. Scary as hell. But then like our second trip up there, because the youngest wanted to do it a second time, we saw a black bear.
Oh, really?
That was wild.
That's pretty sick.
It was crazy.
Go Bears.
Da Bears. Yeah, you got the red rifle now.
We sure do.
All right.
More importantly, we have Justin Fields.
Sure. For the Buckeye side of things, I guess. It was a fun trip. Meanwhile, you were stuck in Amish country.
I'm glad you had a good trip, man. I really am.
Yeah, it was great.
Amish country wasn't too bad because we did go golfing, so that was a lot of fun. Like we went several times.
Sammy won a Pikachu for me in a claw machine.
Oh, nice. We're still recording.
Yeah, let's just okay. So yeah, Thursday we'll see what happens, because again, dog days of the season, or the off season, I guess. We'll find something to talk about.
We'll find stuff to talk about.
Well, yeah. All right. Thanks, y'all. Share us around. Again, we're just getting started. Like, I know it was weird to like take a break for a trip and then come right back while we're like, this is only episode 3 of the entire thing.
Yeah.
But please, Fifth Line, we love you. Share us around, share us with other, fans of other teams. And we will see you Thursday.
Jake Jackets, a podcast for fifth liners and all puckheads around. Follow the guys on Twitter at Snake Garinger, GARRINGER, and at by J Ashdown. And subscribe on YouTube or wherever you listen. March on.